What was Bob Saget's posthumous final on-screen credit? How did Bob Saget help a notorious SNL cast member get the mental help he needed? These are the things we've learned about Bob Saget since his tragic death. 2 months after Bob Saget's mysterious death, a Florida coroner gave what he believed to be the most likely explanation for his blunt force trauma: a fall to a carpeted floor. Publicly released by the Orange County Sheriff's Office, the report stated that the comedian would initially have been left stunned and dizzy by the bleeding close to his brain and the eye socket fractures that occurred as a result. Other people would have potentially spotted the ways both his balance and speech patterns had been affected if he hadn't been alone at the time. The report also noted the lack of any blood on the bed of the Orlando Ritz-Carlton hotel room that Saget was found in. There weren't any other indications of any type of trauma or injury. Saget was staying at the hotel having performed a stand-up gig nearby, but his body wasn't discovered until a wellness check the following afternoon. But just when the mystery appeared to have been solved, TMZ reported that police are also looking into the theory that the blow to the head came from a headboard, while some experts believe that preceding health issues may have been to blame. The lingering mystery of Saget's death is likely to continue, as his family managed to block the full autopsy report from ever being publicly released. Just weeks after the Full House star's tragic passing, a judge assented to permanently seal the autopsy results, agreeing with the family's case that sharing any further information about the incident would cause severe mental pain, anguish, and emotional distress to Saget's loved ones. You wouldn't necessarily suggest Bob Saget, the comedian best known for playing wholesome family man Danny Tanner in Full House, as an obvious choice to appear alongside an adult film star in a hip-hop video. But rapper-designer obviously likes to think outside the box. In the music video for his 2022 single, Bacon, the rapper is seen asking Snoop Dogg to recommend a chef.
Please believe it when I tell you this, get Bob on the job.
Moments later, Saget is shown sizzling some bacon, flashing wads of money, and busting some moves next to designer and a scantily clad Kendra Sunderland.
What's bacon? Oh.
The video premiered just over a month after Saget's untimely passing and proved to be the star's final on-screen credits. A tribute flashes after all the culinary action, as well as behind-the-scenes footage showing the funny man declaring the song's title the best dad joke ever. Bob Saget always presented himself as a confident man, particularly in his stand-up career, but according to a co-star who worked with him on 2 sitcoms, the comedian was racked with insecurities. Speaking to the New York Times shortly after Saget's death, fellow Full House favorite John Stamos revealed that his longtime friend needed constant validation about his talents. Stamos said, "My job for many, many years was to help him to understand how good he was and how smart he was, how funny he was, and how much people loved him. I guarantee you he went into that grave not knowing the love that this world has for him, and that saddens me so much because he wanted that so bad." However, there were certain areas where Saget didn't need any encouragement, Stamos explained. He did this thing where he would inflate himself. "Every girl that came onto Full House, she loves me, she's got a crush on me." I think he overcompensated sometimes. It seems hard to believe considering they were on-screen best buds and brothers-in-law for years, but Bob Saget and John Stamos weren't initially that close. In fact, according to his first wife, Sherry Kramer, Saget once despised Stamos. In a 2022 interview with the New York Times, Stamos recalled the chat he had with Kramer at Saget's memorial. She was crying, "He loved you so much, he loved you so much. But in the beginning, he hated you. He would come home and he was so jealous of you. He would just complain about you so much." While doing press for Fuller House in 2017, Bob Saget was equally candid with people. He said of himself and Stamos, "For the first 4 years of the old show, we weren't as close, and then we became like brothers." Stamos himself admitted that it was only when the family sitcom ended that his relationship with Saget improved. "I looked at this video of us of the last episode of Full House, The Final Bows. We all gathered around and Bob eventually walked over and he hugged me, kissed me. But I don't know how close I was to him at the end there. I didn't think I needed a Bob in my life." However, Stamos, who served as pallbearer at Saget's funeral, explained that they subsequently became so dependent on each other that they were like a married couple. During an emotional interview with Today shortly after Bob Saget's memorial, widow Kelly Rizzo revealed to the world the last text message she received from the Full House star.
I think I said, "I love you dearly," and he said, "I love you endlessly." And then I said, "I can't wait to see you tomorrow."
Rizzo said that this was a typical message from Saget. In fact, he would repeatedly tell all of his nearest and dearest how much he cared for them. She said, "If you knew Bob and he loved you, you knew it. There was never ever a doubt in your mind. He always was just so kind and loving to everybody. He was just the best man I've ever known in my life." Rizzo, who walked down the aisle with Saget in 2018, explained that she was bowled over by the sheer amount of people the comedian forged a connection with. Referring to the memorial, she said, "Every single person was pretty much like, 'Oh, I talked to Bob last week.' I'm like, how did he have the time to talk to everybody and tell everybody that he loved them? All the time. It was just amazing." Candace Cameron Bure struggled to hold back the tears during an appearance on Today, as she recalled one of the last conversations she had with the late Bob Saget. She admitted that she and her on-screen father had a minor fallout just a couple of weeks before his untimely passing. Bure, who played Danny Tanner's daughter, DJ on Full House, explained, "We were gonna have dinner and we got into a little tiff, and his flight was delayed. We ended up not having dinner, but in Bob fashion, the next day he wrote me, like, what would be pages long of a text. He was apologizing, saying he was cranky, and he was just so sorry." Luckily, this apologetic text put Saget back in Bure's good books. The Hallmark Channel regular added, "I wrote back, I love you, I could never be mad at you. Roll my eyes at you? Yes, but never mad." She called Saget's friendship unconditional and noted his special dedication to loved ones. Bure also explained to Us Weekly that she and her castmates comforted one another with stories about their beloved TV dad. Following Saget's untimely death, Pete Davidson asked comedian friend Dave Cyrus to post an Instagram message about how positively the Full House star impacted his life. Calling Saget one of the nicest men on the planet, Davidson went on to reveal that Saget had helped him deal with some, quote, rough mental health stuff. Davidson recalled how Saget introduced him and mother Amy to various health professionals and continued to check up on how he was coping. He concluded, "I love you, Bob. It was an honor to know you. Thank you for your kindness and friendship." Here's a super strong friendship you might not necessarily have seen coming. In an interview with Andy Cohen to promote his SiriusXM and Pandora small stage series show, singer-songwriter John Mayer revealed that Bob Saget was one of his favorite people in the galaxy. Speaking in the wake of the Full House star's death, the singer revealed, "I loved that guy so much. That one was just no question. There are some times we lose someone and we ask ourselves, what's my appropriate level of being upset? Where do I stand here in my level of upset? That one was right over me." Mayer, who disclosed that he was in the process of collecting his thoughts about Saget and a new song, had made friends with the funny man back in 2003 after being asked to contribute to Saget's scleroderma benefit show. It was actually Mayer who, alongside Jeff Ross, helped to return Saget's car home from LAX following his death. The two shared their recollections of Saget on Instagram during the drive. According to a Florida coroner, Bob Saget passed away in his sleep after suffering blunt force trauma in a nasty hotel room fall. So when former co-star Dana Delaney got a black eye after tumbling down a set of stairs just a week later, the actor decided she should get it checked out. Delaney, who starred in the 1996 TV movie For Hope that Saget directed, posted a picture of the damage on Twitter with the caption, "You should see the other guy." But after making light of the accident, she then admitted that the death of her friend had made her take the fall much more seriously than she would have before. The former Desperate Housewives star wrote, "Thank you all for your concern. I fell down some iron stairs head first, totally sober, and all I could think of was poor Bob Saget. So I grabbed the handrail with my face. I was afraid it was fractured, but thankfully, no. The folks at St. John's Emergency took great care of me." In a final screen interview Bob Saget gave before his January 2022 death, the Full House star discussed how much he relied on humor throughout his life. And he revealed to CBS This Morning that making people laugh had helped him deal with one particular tragedy. In 1994, Saget lost his sister, Gay, aged just 47, to scleroderma, a connective tissue disease she'd been battling for 4 years. He recalled, "When she was still coherent, I could still try to tell her stories and then put some humor in it. It just happened naturally in our conversation. It is so healthy to laugh. You know that, and I'm out there doing it and I know it's healing for people." Saget shared that he developed an interest in comedy from a young age, only 4 years old. "I would dance in the living room and just start dancing stupid to make anybody laugh, just like silent film stars. I knew some jokes, but it wasn't really jokes. It was just like, I've got to perform, I've got to make people laugh." While Saget might be best known as Danny Tanner in Full House, the star began his career on the stand-up circuit, and in his final episode of his podcast, Bob Saget's Here For You, that was released just a week after his untimely death, the funny man revealed that he'd rediscovered a love of the art form. Saget, who would perform in Ponte Vedra Beach the night before his body was found at the Ritz-Carlton Orlando, told fellow comedian Margaret Cho that his recent run of live shows have been a welcome surprise. "I didn't know that I was going to love stand-up as much as I love it. I haven't loved it this much since I started, I think." The America's Funniest Home Videos host also acknowledged that his routines differed a lot from those back in the day. He added, "I'm doing long sets because I'm saying serious shit that I never said." Saget confirmed that he never looked back at material from previous tours, adding, "Every 7-8 years, I become a different version of myself."